Every Tuesday in June before 11 a.m., you can get a free breakfast crunch wrap with fluffy eggs, sausage, melty cheese, and a crispy hash brown and a grilled tortilla. Only for Taco Bell Rewards members and only on the app.
It's time for Don McDowell Outdoors on Fox Sports 910. A show for the avid fisherman and hunter looking for tips from the pros. Now here's your host, a saltwater fisherman and a man that fears no fish. He's the bass daddy and a tournament pro, Don McDowell.
All righty, I want to wish everybody a happy Father's Day. And shame on NASCAR. You know, it's Father's Day. They don't have NASCAR today. I mean,
that's not right.
Really?
I mean, if we turn around and look at it, Mother's Day, we go out. It's
you have NASCAR.
Yeah, exactly. But it's buffets and all the rest of it. Father's Day, we're out in the backyard in the barbecue.
Yeah, I get it. But there would be a TV in the background. Greg Krueger is in the house joining us. He is freshly back from Lake Fork, Texas, on the Skeeter's owner fishing derby back there. That's a big event. We got Doug up in St. George, Utah, driving the boat. Doug, what's happening? How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Trying to stay above things, so we're good to go. Sounds like we got a good day going.
Yeah, we do. This is going to be a great report from, from Greg. And then 7:30, we'll get a Roosevelt update from Goughnour. And 7:45, we're going to have a quick phone call from Mike Hoffareth. He's been back at Omena, Michigan, fishing smallies. Matt's going to talk about whatever he did Saturday night at Roosevelt. Chris Rich on update on fly fishing, see what he's been up to. We'll probably dispense with Captain Bill. I'll give you some saltwater updates are okay, not really that good, but certainly worth being there. Beats being here.
Okay, Don.
And then we've got Mike.
Hey, Don?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the sites back.
Okay, Tim Farr, appreciate that. And then we've got Matt Kyle from the Arizona Cowpunchers Reunion Rodeo. He's still up there. We got there Friday, toughed it out all day. They were trying to get me to ride this damn horse named Tornado. Go, no, we're not. No, we're not doing that. Nope. So,
that's a 50-50, though. A horse named Tornado might just be the best behaved. It's the one that is named like Binky that you got to worry.
Well, they had this bull up there named Cupcake.
Well, there you go.
Right there. We're going, no. No. Yeah, I was looking for his sister Twinkie, but couldn't find her. Anyway, we'll find out what the final day of the rodeo is. I don't have a head count from the cowpuncher folks, but I'll tell you what, man, there was it looked like going to quartzsite, except you didn't see fifth wheels. You saw horse trailers. I mean, hundreds of them. It was really cool. And they had some pretty good rodeo stock up there. They had some horses up there that were just
healthy, good looking.
Yeah, healthy, good looking, and the bucking horses were just absolutely. They call them bucking broncos for a reason, let's just say. So anyway, that was a fun time. Let's get right straight to Greg. Lake Fork, Texas. How was it?
It's fantastic. I got to tell you, for what you get out of the event, whether you're pre-fishing or whatever, number one, it's Lake Fork. Then you get into the Skeeter portion of this. Now, it's the 75th anniversary for Skeeter, and the Skeeter Owners Tournament draws people from everywhere. Obviously, there's a concentration because of geographically where it's located at, but they draw people from literally everywhere. And it is an enormous gathering of Skeeter owners. I was going through the website. They estimate somewhere over 1,800 anglers were participating. Guys, that's a lot of boats on the water, but at Lake Fork, it's not. You do have boat traffic, but it's not what you turn around to think that it's with all those people out there that you're on top of one another. That's definitely not the case. What a fantastic presentation. I mean, the catch on it, the catchphrase is eat, sleep, and fish. Next year is going to be the 30th anniversary of the tournament. This year was the 75th anniversary of Skeeter itself. So they're rolling back to back on two big anniversaries as a manufacturer. Looking at the catch rate for the 2 days, though, it was a bit slower. Friday was pretty hot during the pre-fish. And then we rolled into Saturday. We had good cloud cover, a little bit of a breeze, had a storm come across part of the lake. And we, hunkered down for a little bit just in case because watching the radar. Storm hits Lake Fork and you're on it.
Oh, boy.
They come across quick and they come across. You look at your radar and it's not a whole lot of green. It's mostly orange and red. And the wind whips up pretty good. It's not the rollers. It's just literally the force of the storm. The big over, because they run different prize tiers. So the big over this year was a 974, and that was caught by a gentleman by the name of Jerry Locke. The big under was the real story of everything, because the big under, and they fish a slot 16 to 24 inches. The big under was 3.08.
That's crazy.
Here's the big thing. Texas Fisheries was involved. All the judging that is involved in the tournament, we're all inspecting this fish, and the reason being is 3/4 of the tail was missing. So everyone involved.
Explain that.
Well,
where do you think the tail went?
I think it's in the belly of a gar,
okay,
or in a snapping turtle, and that's what was decided by Texas Fisheries. Was a natural cause for it to be tore up like that. So that young man.
That's crazy.
So your big over. The big over walked away with a 75th anniversary Skeeter FXR 21 with a 250 Yamaha show on the back of it.
Whoa.
The first place under walked away with a ZX 150 with a 150 show. That's pretty nice. We're giving away 2 boats for 2 different stipulations. Then the next thing rolls into is they had a drawing for a side-by-side. That went, and you got extra. And this was for everybody. Everybody that entered had an opportunity to win this as soon as you did your entry. But you had additional tickets that.
Was that just for the anglers that entered? Or
correct. No, it's just for the anglers.
Public. No,
just for the anglers that entered. Then you could increase your entries by donating a toy or taking a demo ride with Skeeter. The ladies' side of it was the big fish was a 909, but second place, Lisa Sepulveda, she took in a 236. So that's a pretty good gap between first and second.
Boy, I'll say.
But the extra prize, the side-by-side, was also won by Lisa Sepulveda. So she actually...
Lucky day.
She had a good day. So that was a pretty good thing for her. They throw ducks across the lake. There's 50 ducks, and they're thrown out in the water.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Into brush. Those all correspond back into prizes. It was a great event. It's well supported by the sponsors. There's goodie bags. There's all sorts of stuff that you can turn around and sign up for. Discounted product. AFCO had Skeeter branded products there and a whole bunch of other stuff that was in the tent. I just kind of walked around, got a chance to talk to everybody, and just echoing over and over and resonating was the fact that they really enjoy the event. They enjoy being there and being able to see all the anglers. And some of them have made friendships from people in different states, and this is where they get back and gather with. And there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of different places to stay. So it's not just running out to a hotel and what have you. The lake is surrounded by Airbnbs, multiple hotels. I wound up staying down in Lindale because of business earlier in the week, so it allowed me to get around where I needed to get to. But you can also stay up in Emory and things like that. During the entire tournament out there, as we start in the morning, you launch at 4:30 in the morning. You can't put lines in until 6, so you can get to where you're going to get out to, basically start your day.
Yeah.
And it's supported by radio across the lake. And the radio station is based out of Mineola, Texas, which is just southeast of the lake itself. But they broadcast all the way across the lake, and it's It's fantastic. It's such a huge community event out there, not just for the Skeeter owners, but for the supporting towns that are around it too.
You know, the number of times that I've been back there, the thing that was a big takeaway was the friendliness of the people that live there. You know, that they just pour out to support the anglers, whether they're fishing or not. And one of the biggest derbies that it was huge, but it was the most fun was the big crappie they have there annually.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of activity. You know, with all the supporting lakes that are in the area, Tawakoni, Lake Fork, Lake of the Pines, Cedar Creek Reservoir, these are all, and I talk from an Arizona mindset that I've got to drive 3 hours to get to water I want to get to, as far as getting out to Havasu or getting back into Alamo, angler areas. You know, even 2.5 hours up the mountain towing a boat. This is less than an hour from your doorstep to launch with where these lakes are. And these are storied lakes. They are lakes that we've been reading about for years in the magazines. So it's quite an area. And when you talk about the community at large, you walk into a place, they ask you how you did if you're inside of a fishing jersey.
Sure.
Right off the bat. Hey, how's your day? How'd you do?
Yeah. How'd you fish? Okay, was there any cash that changed hands or just boats?
No, there was cash involved. I don't have that have the dollar amounts on that, but there was cash involved as well. They estimated out, or at least advertised out, that it was $200,000 in cash and prizes. And you can see it.
Oh, yeah.
You can see it.
2/3 of that's boats and motors. Yeah.
Well, Kilgore's just right down the highway. I'm pretty sure they've got a good relationship.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They may put the retail value on it. But
Who'd you get to fish with?
I fished with the Amperseys, Chris Ampersey and his son.
Uh-huh.
And his other son was out there with his younger son, Logan. Logan's like a tree. He's like 6'7.5".
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where that kid
that
got his height at.
Really shot up. Kind of redefines who's your daddy.
Yeah, well, I think there's probably a rack or something.
Nothing against his mom.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. The height actually runs in the other.
All right,
family.
we're going to switch into a break before I get in a lot of trouble. I'm Don McDowell. We got Doug at the Dairy Queen and
Greg Krueger with Bass Junkies.
Yep, fresh from Lake Fork, Texas. We'll be right back.
In today's world, personal and family safety.
I haven't seen Chris for a while.
He's doing good.
Are they still doing upholstery and that kind of stuff?
No.
Done. Over.
Yep. They've got a shop that's large enough for it. Their younger son does metal fab, custom metal fab, and there's some other type of business that they're looking at tinkering in with.
Well, what's Chris doing?
He's been doing construction. So he's been a foreman and doing project management and things like that.
Yeah.
But they've got him running all over the place. So instead of having, 4 or 6 sites that he's responsible for, they had him up to like 12 or 13.
Oh, God. That's enough to make you crazy.
Well, as he says, company vehicle, company gas, but it's still, that's a lot of miles and a lot of getting around.
Yeah, I get it. Let's see.
So I've got a friend that is doing a bike ride honoring his father. His father passed this last year. This is his first Father's Day without him. Started in British Columbia and is now...
You're talking motorcycle or bicycle?
Bicycle.
Whoa.
And started in British Columbia, and he is now in King City, California. It's 1,082 miles, roughly. And he still has a pretty good ride to get down to Anaheim, California, back to his home.
How many total miles?
He's only covered 1,082 so far.
Yeah, what's the total?
I don't know. I'm look it up.
God, that's crazy. Oh, my goodness.
$1,305.
Wow.
Give or take. But it's a ride that he's doing to honor his father. His father had done some long distance rides and things like that. His dad was kind of a Renaissance man. He was a good man.
Nature optimized by science.
This segment brought to you by Boyd's Gun Stocks, makers of the adjustable agility and at-one stock for your favorite long gun. Head to boydsgunstocks.com for more details. Build with Boyd's. Show us your rack. How big is that elk, whitetail, moose, or mule deer? In the world of big game hunting, there's nothing better than having your rack on the wall and shown around the outdoor world. Head to huntingfishing.com and show us your rack. Now back to Don McDowell Outdoors on Fox Sports 910.
Okay, what was the prominent technique? Should have been
On what we were doing that day, we were throwing the kitchen sink.
Okay.
I will tell you that the bite was eventually discussed after the tournament, and it was throwing all the way up to the bank. There's so much water in the lake right now. Spinner baits, but you were coming back through a grass line
right
into open water, and when you came through the grass line is when you got bit.
Yeah. Huh, interesting. What was the final outcome on with Texas Parks and Wildlife? Those guys have such a huge presence at bass tournaments wherever they are. They're there. Well, as it should be.
Texas Fisheries has a huge facility that's outside of Athens, Texas.
Right.
And you talk about stock ponds, education center, all their biologists, etc. The whole 9 yards is right there. You can receive quite an education on Texas fishing in an hour-and-a-half period on that property. I've been fortunate enough to spend probably now over the past few years, probably about 10 hours altogether, going in and out, talking to people, talking about our own systems and what we do here with Bass Junkies, as far as for controlling mortality rates and dissolved oxygen and all the rest of that. But they are so incredibly present at this tournament, talking to anglers. Basically, it's an on-the-fly creel survey, because you're not able to bring a slot fish to the scale. If you bring a slot fish to the scale, you're fined.
Gotcha.
So the conversations that happen with anglers out there, how did you catch? What did you catch? What did you see? What did you not see? Yeah. Any photographs for anything weird? Where are you seeing most of your activity around the lake? So there is a pretty good dialogue with Texas Fisheries at events. They are completely, with everything that comes out in the terminology of somebody saying hands-on, they are involved with their fisheries.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, I think the big catalyst is they set the bar for activity with tournaments, and I believe as it should be.
I do. I share that sentiment.
We should have a presence. Arizona Game and Fish should have a presence at these tournaments.
Well, I know
and we're working towards that again.
I was just going to say there's discussion on that.
Well,
you and I are both privy to.
12 years old.
Yes, it is, and I remember when it started.
Yeah,
but it is something that seems to gain a lot of ground and then kind of slide back complacent, and then gains ground and slides back.
Yeah, I don't get it. Anyway, that discussion is going to be had, and it's going to be an uncomfortable discussion. So
it's coming. And it's coming to all the tournament operators that are out here and the tournament fishermen. It may become all the tournaments have to become CPR. What if they turn around and make that decision? That it's, catch, photograph, release. There is software out there.
Yes.
That is used. There is, standards that are used.
And that's really getting some traction.
It's gaining a lot of traction, actually, because I've been looking at it for what Bass Junkies is looking at as far as other platforms to present tournament formats.
Let me ask you this: what's the attitude of the anglers that you've discussed this with?
From the boating side?
Yeah.
Oh, they're mad if you're telling them it's 3 fish. We went through that last year. We put a 3 fish limit on and got blowback from that. But it's just some people. I think there should be a 3 fish limit over the summer.
I do too.
And I also think there should be other restrictions in the summer. I'm not crazy about night tournaments and the way that fish are handled. It is what it is, but it's going to come down from Game and Fish and the tournament directors.
I'll say this: we've got fish handling problems with the entrepreneurs, the tournament directors across the board, except for you guys. So.
Well, I appreciate that compliment, and Bass Junkies has not been without its moments. We had a learning curve.
You know what? As good as some of these guys are, and I'll bring Randy Mackel out to the point. Randy seemed to go to next level to take care of fish, but you know what? It happens. And Forrest Gump said it best. It's
a situation to make sure that your temperature's right. You're not shocking fish. You've got dissolved oxygen, running through the tank. A lot of guys will turn around and they'll put block ice down into a live well and they'll drop it into a tank, just ice. And you can't do that because that water that you froze came out of your tap. Now you're dropping it into their environment. You're changing the chemistry of their environment. If you're a tournament director and you have to regulate that temperature, you got plenty of opportunity to freeze milk jugs.
Oh yeah. Well, you've got that aspect, and then the other aspect, when you start putting fish in there and you're hauling butt across the lake, icebergs beating up your fish. So you're going to have surprise mortality when you open up that door.
There's a lot of things. There are a lot of things, and as anglers and tournament directors and tournament anglers in general, I don't care if it's CPR or what have you, we have a duty to go ahead and take care of our resource.
We do. We absolutely do. And I hope this next season with what fisheries is doing is we can implement some of this, because I'm like you, I'm just sick and tired of having the same damn discussion for a decade and a half and nothing happening. Period.
It may come down that if you're going to operate a tournament circuit, that you have to have certification. You have to have the ability to.
I've pushed that for years
to recover.
With Cantrell, going back to Larry Riley, that's where that discussion started, and it just goes into a black hole. I mean, they're using state asset constituency resources to make money, as a big game guy does. I'm going to throw it back on that, and the anglers don't like to hear that, but it's the fact of the matter. You got to go take a test. Learn the proper protocols for fish care, fish handling, and how to put on a tournament. And a lot of that, as you know, flows back over to the welfare of the anglership.
Yes.
So, enough of that. I'm done. Get me on that soapbox. Good grief. Oh, yeah, sometimes you just like to... Never mind.
It is what it is. But as long as I'm going to tell you this, as long as the community continues to communicate, whether it's from the game and fish side, whether it's from the anglers or the tournament directors, and we get to a consensus of, hey, we got to take care of the resource, those are steps completely in the right direction.
Well, they are, but where we are today, there's no communication to the anglership. We're trying to talk to game and fish. And once again, we're going back and we're having the same damn discussion we had, 10, 12 years ago with new people, and they get it. And I'm just wondering whether we have to go to rulemaking, and they keep using terms like, well, we're going to encourage. There's some words in the dictionary that start with thou shalt do this. Now, we're not going to encourage you. We're going to encourage you with a citation. There needs to be enforcement. That's the big thing lacking here.
I think quite honestly, if there was some enforcement, and at the point that we're turning around and saying, hey, Texas Fisheries, as an example, they're on hand for the tournament. They will issue the citation if the fish is in the slot.
Boom.
Right then and there.
Yeah.
And tournament rules, you're disqualified for the day, and you can come back and fish
those
tomorrow,
guys don't play.
Why should they?
That's the way it should be. The deer cops, they don't play. Where's the fish cops? We don't have fish cops. They say they do, but where the hell are they? I don't know.
I only meet the guys out on the water, but they're out there to make sure you're operating your boat.
Yeah,
safely, and that you have everything you're supposed to.
Yeah,
have
they like to stop me on the way to weigh-in. I'm running 10 minutes late. But anyway, it's all fun. Listen, we're going to stand down here at Fox Sports 910, get some input from Commissioner Goughnour and a report on the Mother Lake, Roosevelt. I'm Don McDowell.
Greg Krueger.
Doug at the Dairy Queen, and this is Fox Sports 910. Yeah, I get it. How many Texas game rangers were there, did you see?
I saw at least 6.
Yeah.
There were at least 6.
Yeah, and how did they, what was the weigh-in protocol?
There was a queue. So there were probably about 10 tanks up through the queue. And from the queue, you went over to a bump, and from the bump up to the stage. So.
And how did they handle mortalities?
There wasn't a dead fish that came to the scale.
Nice.
So
and if you had a dead fish, was that a DQ? Was that a...
No, I think it was a 1 pound penalty. I'd have to go back and read through the rules.
Yeah.
But Don, with it being a big fish tournament, they're not hanging on to those fish in their live wells.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's catch it. If you catch it deep, you catch it deep. That does happen. They go ahead and choke it down, but they get them back over to the scale and run forward. The best way for them to make money on the day, if they're fishing to make money, is to get in, weigh a fish, and get back out.
Yeah. Was there regular coordinated weigh-in times?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every hour?
Yes. Okay. And they're announced on the radio station.
Those are fun.
It was, honestly, last year we heard weigh-in updates nearly continuous and very few songs. This year, we had quite a catalog of music, so the catch rate was down, and it had to do with the weather cycle and what have you. But it was kind of a hard bite to find.
Yeah,
we were out through lily pads, we threw stumps, we found an area that had some riprap. It just kept going and trying to find fish docks, under
sure,
shrubs that were in 5-6 feet of water. We kept looking at that line of 5-6 and a drop off to find that shelf. Fished the river channel, caught some fish through there, but it wasn't the right fish. We didn't start catching decent fish until we started throwing all the way up to the bank, bringing it out.
11:30 in the morning.
Oh no, that wasn't until like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We figured that out. Huh. And that was pulling through grass, pulling through weeds and things that had been brought in into the water line, simply because the lakes are so high. That was great.
Yeah.
I mean, last year when I was at Lake Fork, we were out 20 feet from docks that were completely out of the water, dry with grass growing underneath them. So it'd been a while. This year, we were using one of those docks for shelter, and we were in 8 feet of water.
Yeah.
So it was fantastic. I had a ball. I had an absolute ball. Deer running around all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of properties had feeders, and the feeder would go off, and you'd just see the deer run to the feeder.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the deer standing there looking at their watch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Saw a few spikes.
Yeah.
Good-looking, healthy deer.
Immediately get a short list of quality candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Joe Brown here with Accident Law Group. If you were hurt in an accident, find us on the web at accidentlawgroup.com.
Back to Don McDowell Outdoors on Fox Sports 910 and always on our free iHeartRadio app. Here's the Bass Daddy and Tournament Pro, Don McDowell.
Alrighty, we're back coming to the microphone right now from downtown Payson, celebrating Father's Day at Green Valley Lake. James Goughnour, what's happening, James?
Hey, Don. Having a great day out here. Perfect day for Father's Day.
It is. So what's going on in your world?
So let me start with weather up here first, because that's always a big thing, and we try to always share that, especially this time of year with people from the valley. This morning here at the house, it was 54 degrees, and we'll get up to the high 80s today. Tonto Basin is warming up for sure. I mean, summer conditions are moving in. They had a low of 70 degrees, and they're going to be over 100 degrees today. The afternoons have been picking up with a breeze, so a little bit of chop on the water in the afternoons. Always be prepared for that. The lake went down a little bit. We're still at 98% full, but that's down 1% from last year. As I said, the water temperatures are heating up as well as the air. We're at 75 degrees for a water temperature. The rate of flow into the lakes is continuing to go down. The salt is about 250 cubic feet per second. That's down from last week, was like 300 cubic feet per second. But it's still about 200% above what's normal for this time of year.
Yeah, that is so wonderful. Wow.
Yeah, water flowing. Now the Tonto is down to like single digits of flow. So, but typically by now the Tonto has stopped flowing altogether. For the fishing conditions down at the lake, Don, the big thing right now is before the sun comes up, people are throwing an A-rig and having pretty good success until the sun comes up over the mountains. So you were saying earlier about reaction baits in the morning.
Yeah.
That is still the thing to do. Some guys are going out there, and I kind of like this as a technique for those of us that have insomnia, but they actually get on the water about 3 o'clock in the morning and fish the night and then the morning bite there. And they're saying that even 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when it's still dark, they're catching some pretty good fish. And then as the sun comes up, it's the A-rig bite.
Yeah.
When the sun does come up, as you know, Don, you got to move to a little bit deeper water, 15 to 25 feet of water. Things like drop shots and jigs and Texas rig worms still seem to be the summertime bite for Roosevelt.
Well, it's a great time of year, boy. I mean, it's just awesome.
Yep. It is fun to be out on the water. I mean, just driving by Roosevelt Lake, the water is still nearly up to the A crossroads up there by Duncanstown. I mean, everything is underwater, and it's just a great time to be there. The other thing that's going on for those coming up to Rim Country, and we had lots of people up here over the holiday, but the summer trout stocking program for Arizona Game and Fish is in full swing. And as you know, Don, the department stocks 750,000 pounds of fish around the state. But up here in Rim Country, any of the streams, Canyon, Christopher, Clear Creek, the East Verde River, Hagler, they're all getting stocked every week right now in the summertime. And those are put and take. We want people to catch those fish and take them home and enjoy them. and it's a fun opportunity. Willow Springs Lake and Woods Canyon Lake are also being stocked this week.
Well, we're getting awfully good reports from all the different types of fishing, fly fishing and bait fishing, worms in a bobber on all the lakes. And rumor has it that Clifford Perch has got a request to change Haggler to the Perch Creek. So.
He mostly does. That's for sure. I was talking to a guy here, and here's something I'd never thought of before, but I thought what a great opportunity. He was taking his son out fishing on Woods Canyon, but he gave him a fly rod because he's a fly rod fisherman. And he was trolling with the fly rod in a nymph, and he said he wanted his son to just learn how to use the rod when a fish is on the line. He wasn't very good at casting it yet, but at least to introduce him to fly fishing. And I thought, wow, what a wonderful way to do that, because it feels so different on a fly rod than a spinning rod or a bait caster.
Mm-hmm.
And what a great technique to introduce young people to fly fishing.
Absolutely.
Yeah? That sounds like one of our friend Chris Rich. That sounds like one of his techniques.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, he's a great guy. We're going to be talking to him next hour, see what he's been up to.
Cool. Yeah, he can tell you the good flies to be using right now. Now the mayflies have hatched. I hear people talking about using black nymphs, woolly bugger, kind of lures out there. But definitely a great time. Enjoy the cold mornings up here. It's just fabulous to see.
Okay, what's the great news from the department? A lot of good things been happening.
There have been lots of good things happening. Now, in July, the commission does not hold a commission meeting. That's one of the months that we have off. However, there is a WAFWA, Western Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies. We're going to be meeting over in Santa Fe, New Mexico in the middle of the month. And myself and a few other commissioners are going to be attending there. We get an opportunity to speak with commissioners from other agencies throughout the West and find out what the latest is in their stories and what they're doing. As you know, Don, we always look forward to talking with Colorado because they have a new wolf program up there, and they just approved their management plan for wolves last week. So I'm sure that our commission will be getting updates for those activities, as well as several of the states around the West. So we always look forward to going to those conferences. Lots of good information shared there. We don't have them too often in Arizona, but if your audience ever gets a chance to sit in on one of those, they're fun to sit through and get some good education.
Well,
our August meeting is going to be in Cottonwood, and we'll be talking about more of that as we get closer to it.
Okay. The ACGA and some of the other cattle organizations, there's some pretty heated discussion going on relative to the big wolves being turned loose in Colorado.
Yes.
I don't want to ask any loaded questions, certainly not. I wouldn't do that. But what's your opinion to turn these damn big wolves loose? And what do you think the longevity of the Kaibab Plateau and our beloved big deer DNA up on the Strip? If we got a chance to survive the big wolves?
Well, that's one of the big questions. The commission a few months ago wrote a letter from the chairman representing the Arizona Game and Fish Commission to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Agency and to the Colorado DWR, and wanting to know what the plan would be that if one of those wolves would cross into Arizona, how would it be treated? And the idea that was suggested was to put a buffer zone that if one of those wolves got within, say, 10 or 20 miles of the state border, that it could be captured and moved back into the primary release area, which is in the northwest portion of the state of Colorado. But we don't think that those plans got included. I didn't see it in the management plan, so it'll remain to be seen if they travel that way. More than likely, the state that's going to be impacted soonest is going to be Utah, just because of the proximity. They're just going to move across there, and so I think it's going to be an ongoing discussion in years to come.
Yeah, I hate to see the lack of logic continue the way it's going, but
Yep. Well, we
right.
have that. And then the other big news, I'm sure a lot of your listeners saw the bear attack over in Prescott the other day. And there was a great interview that was done by Sheriff Rhodes and one of the game and fish wildlife managers over there, Darren Tucker.
yeah.
And, this just seems like an unprovoked attack, very tragic for this family. And but there's a reminder out there that wildlife is wild, and it's meant to be wild. And boy, when you see people walking up to bison and to elk, and trying to do photo ops of those things, or chasing animals to get pictures of them, not smart.
No,
Folks,
no.
Those animals are out there, and they can turn. This one totally. I mean, it sounds like the gentleman was just sitting in his chair drinking coffee and was attacked. But yeah, people need to understand that wildlife is wild.
Well, those are all good points. And from my perspective, that 66-year-old gentleman was an experienced outdoorsman. And what he was doing outside unarmed is beyond me. I mean, we don't do that.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, this was, I don't know all the details of it, but just really concerning, just because it was, unprovoked. Apparently the gentleman had his back to the bear and just never knew what happened.
Oh yeah, if you spend any time out in the woods, you're going to learn certain creatures like mountain lions and bears they're sneaky.
Yep, that's for sure.
And sometimes they want to have a taste of us. So,
and that's a reminder to the rest of us when we see that. I mean, up here in Payson, we talked about this before, people feeding wildlife and trying to do photo ops with them and walking up to those animals and actually reaching out to try to touch their antlers or whatever. Just crazy stuff.
Anybody trying to run out to do a photo op and pursue an animal wants to pursue their moment of natural selection, because that'll thin the herd. And people that are doing that kind of stuff, we see those YouTube videos up on Yellowstone and what have you. It amazes me, truly amazes me, that more people are not killed.
I agree with you, Greg. That's pretty shocking to see some of that. There was just a recent one with a bison where a woman walked right up to on the ground. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. All right. We're going to wish you a happy Father's Day. God love you, man. You guys be safe up there, James.
And same to you, all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day. Thank you for what you do for all your sons and daughters.
Amen. We'll be right back here on Fox Sports 910.
This is The Odd Couple with Chris Broussard and Rob Parker.
Chris Paul, I would just move forward, move on. The problem is you can't count on him come postseason. Always winds up getting hurt. He's had an unbelievable career.
Two big bulls, Buffalo Bulls, throwing each other across the highway. It's just it's hard to imagine, one throwing another 2,000-pound bull, 5 feet in the air. Oh, the horsepower. Coffee, sir?
No, thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. They have a lot of that in Estes Park up in Colorado. Elk are everywhere. And they don't think anything about walking up to you, saying, "Hey, what's happening? What you got?" Then you stick your hand out there and you get a horn.
Well, they're desensitized from our behavior, not theirs. Our behavior.
Yeah.
Because we turn around and we provide, a sweet snack or something, hand to mouth on one occasion, and the next occasion they're whipping their head around and they got a hold of you and you're flying through the air.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that even happens with, the behavior of livestock. You know them, they know you, and I've got one out there at Poca de Nero Ranch. She'll put you in the fence every chance after you pat her on the head. She'll come over, want to pat in the head, and turn around.
When I was 19, I was moving horses for a family member. He had a business, and they did transport. We were moving from Los Alamitos Racetrack out to Rio Dosa Downs. Horses were all well behaved. They trailered up easy, whole 9 yards. Opened up one of the doors, taking care of a little bit of feed and some water. Turned my back. Horse got a hold of me on my shoulder. Didn't catch my skin completely, just a little bit. Got a hold of my jacket, took me one way, and slammed me into the side of the trailer.
Ow.
That was my moment of, doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's crazy.
And just telling me they just about had enough is what that message was.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, they
get me out of this trailer.
Yep, they do make your point. Yeah, they do. Oh, man. I feel a nap coming on today. Did you leave him a voicemail? Let me check my number. Mike.
Hoffareth, right?
The best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Humans can do a lot of amazing things. Fighting bugs? Ew, a bug, get it! Isn't one of them. STEM is powered by active ingredients found in plants to fight off bugs safely and effectively when used as directed. STEM, rooted in nature, optimized by science.
If you love the outdoors, make sure you sign up for the weekly hunting fishing newsletter to stay up to date with the latest outdoorsman news across the nation. Sign up today at huntingfishing.com. Now back to Don McDowell Outdoors on Fox Sports 910.
This segment is brought to you by Mr. Croppy's Slab Daddy Supper Rigs. We all live for the thump.
Alrighty, we're trying to get our buddy Mike Hoffareth someplace in Michigan while we're doing that. Getting back on the bear issue, that's certainly unfortunate, and I guess Darren Tucker was involved in dispatching that bear. They found it rather quickly, and were able to take care of it.
Male or female bear?
It was a big male bear. It was about 300 pounds. It was a good-sized bear.
It's a good-sized bear.
That, and the other piece of housekeeping I had, last Wednesday, a jet skier went missing on Roosevelt. That body was recovered yesterday.
Okay. I think that was out by Windy Hill, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were asking people to stay away from Windy Hill and Bobcat and all that while they were doing the search. So I'm not sure what the circumstances was. They didn't release any names or stats or anything, but we'll do that as
solo rider, no collision.
I don't know. I don't have that information. But anyway, we've got Mike back in Michigan. Mikey, what's happening, buddy?
Hey, man. Enjoying myself here. Really nice.
Well, happy Father's Day. Yeah.
Happy Father's Day to you and the rest of the guys that are in there.
Okay. Are you catching any fish?
Well, it was challenging. They had a cold front blow through here earlier in the week, and it's just now starting to clear out as of Friday. I mean, so the water temperatures were in the low 50s. So, I mean, he's in a 22-foot Robalo center console, and, you know, I've never fished a big lake like Lake Michigan. I've never fished any of the Great Lakes, so it's a totally different thing for me. Of course, Tim, my friend, you know, he's got a place here for the summer that he comes, and he's got a pretty good, you know, idea of what to do and where to go. He had a lot of different spots to go. What's amazing here is there's really no shore fishing, and what I mean by that is these shorelines, it is only like 1 to 2 feet, and it could go out hundreds and hundreds of yards, where it's only 2 and 3 feet.
Oh, yeah.
So there's none of that kind of stuff going on as far as what we're used to in our reservoirs in Arizona, you know, where we can fish the shorelines. So getting back to the smallmouth stuff, this does produce, as I'm sure you know, some big smallmouth fish. I mean, this is Kevin Van Dam's water, right?
Sure.
So we went and we searched and couldn't find any beds. So the thing we're figuring here is it's either the spawn's over, because they did have a little bit warmer water the week or two previous, but I don't think they've fully spawned out yet. Because actually this morning when we were I'm getting ready to leave, go back to the airport to come back, there was some starting to spawn in his little area where he's at, where his home is. So I think they're just starting to move up. But so we had to go and fish, you know, deeper. And what we were catching the fish on, believe it or not, we were using crankbaits, deep diving crankbaits.
Yes, sir.
You know, on the shelves that go from 8 to 10 feet into a little bit deeper water. Sometimes we were trolling and catching them. Other times, you know, we were casting. But to try to cast in this big body of water is kind of not smart. So we just slow trolled on that shelf, and we started picking up fish.
Interesting. How many days did you have back there, Mike?
Pardon me?
How many days did you have back there?
I got here on Thursday. So we fished Thursday evening, Friday, Saturday, and then we went out and kayak fished in a little lake right around the corner from where he's at. We caught a bunch there, but it's, you know, it's a pond, 2-3 pound largemouth. That was, you know, on my jerk bait, which I love, the Lucky Craft, the 4-inch. But what they also do here is lake trout and salmon. So we were, you know, he taught me how to use, you know, these big downriggers. What's the weight on those weights? 12 pounds. You know, so we learned how to do that. Of course, me, I screwed that all up, crossing the lines and that type of thing. But, you know, I told him, hey, I'm a beginner, so I learned a little bit about, you know, how to do that with downriggers. Also, we use some gypsies, right? That's like the small round planer boards, I call them.
Yeah.
We got into one, and it snapped the line, so that one was probably pretty big. But then again, I don't know. We didn't check the line before we went out. But what size test you're using on that? It's probably got to be pretty heavy. The diameter was pretty big. So, but all types of different types of fishing in this body of water, of course, and just learned a lot of new stuff, you know, in a big water lake. And,
yeah, boy, I'll tell you what, that is some huge water out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's in clear, you know, just absolutely blue aqua. It's just, water is just super clear.
Yeah, good stuff.
So, yeah.
Well, we're going to wish you the best the rest of the weekend. When are you traveling back to the desert?
I'll be hitting the flight here in a couple hours to get back in time for my kids to come over and celebrate a little bit of Father's Day.
There you go. All right. Yep. All right. Hoffareth, one hard-working guy. But I tell you what, man, this guy's got smallies on the brain. It's good. I love him. All right, man. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you next time, buddy.
All right, Don. Thanks.
All right, we're out. Happy Father's Day. We'll be back after a short break with Matt Shura on the Mother Lake. Don McDowell,
Greg Krueger,
and Doug at the Dairy Queen. Oh, yeah, there's nothing like getting out on one of those big ones.
Big news! AZ Med Weight Control cutting-edge programs now include the Evolve X body contouring technology. The Evolve X body contouring machine is non-invasive, hands-free solution that quickly transforms the shape of your muscles while treating fat and improving the look of your skin and contour. With the Evolve X body contouring, you get to take advantage of the combination of technologies that delivers a no downtime and a true alternative for sculpting your body without needles or surgery. As medical technology grows daily, AZ Med Weight Control strives to stay on the leading edge of the medical weight loss industry. If you want to become a happier, healthier you, then AZ Med Weight Control is for you. Evolve X is now available at our Avondale office, located at 2935 North Dysart Road. Call for your appointment now at 623-251-5605. Let me give you that number one more time because you don't want to miss this offer. 623-251-5605 or visit azmedweightcontrol.com. That's azmedweightcontrol.com.
Hey, babe, what you got there?
This is a check from Carvana. I just sold my car to them. I went online and Carvana gave me an offer right away. Then they just picked up the car and gave me this.
Well, that's a big check. Sorry, your check, not mine.
Sell your car at Carvana.com today.
Introducing the new My Plan from Verizon. Now you can pick only the perks you want in your phone plan and save on every one, like Disney Bundle and Hotspot. Get exactly what you want, only pay for what you need. Get My Plan at your Verizon store today. $10 per month for each My Plan perk. Additional terms and conditions apply per perk.
Gilbert worked in retail and restaurant management for 14 years. It was time for a change.
I recognized where I was at was vulnerable to the whims of the economy.
Then he heard about My Computer Career. Gilbert went for it.
In as little as 7 months, I got all of my certifications at a fraction of the cost for college.
He became an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I can work from anywhere. I have more time for my family as well.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
O'Reilly. When you shop O'Reilly Auto Parts, you'll get the parts you need when you need them. Order online at O'ReillyAuto.com and choose same-day curbside, same-day pickup, or same-day delivery powered by DoorDash. Now available at participating stores near you. Trust the professional parts people to get you the parts you need today. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Only iHeartRadio gives you access to all of your favorite radio stations.
Rover's Morning Glory. It's the Woody Show. It's Elliot in the Morning.
All of the once-in-a-lifetime events.
iHeartRadio Music Festival.
All of the best free curated playlists. It's everything that rocks. All of the great podcasts for every interest.
This is Freddie Prinze Jr. from the Wrestling with Freddie podcast.
All of the mind-blowing contests.
$20,000.
Awesome. All your favorite superstars.
This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
Best of all, it doesn't cost a thing. Download the absolutely free iHeartRadio app now. Only iHeartRadio gives you access to all of your favorite radio stations.
Rover's Morning Glory.
It's the Woody Show. It's Elliot in the Morning.
All of the once-in-a-lifetime events.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Tomorrow from 10 to 1. This is KGME Phoenix, KESC HD2 Phoenix, an iHeart radio station. What you need to know.
On Saturday night, Bob Huggins resigned as the head men's basketball coach at West Virginia after being arrested on Friday night on a DUI charge. Huggins had already been suspended the first 3 games of the upcoming season after making homophobic remarks on a radio program. 3 rounds in the...
Is it still Texas?
Oh, no, Cactus.
Yeah. Yeah, he's still doing Cactus out here.
#2023.
This segment brought to you by Boyd's Gun Stocks, makers of the adjustable agility and at-one stock for your favorite long gun. Head to boydsgunstocks.com for more details. Build with Boyd's. It's time for Don McDowell Outdoors on Fox Sports 910. A show for the avid fisherman and hunter looking for tips from the pros. Now here's your host, a saltwater fisherman and the man that fears no fish. He's the Bass Daddy and a tournament pro, Don McDowell.
Coming to the stage, we got Matt Shura. Last I heard, he was headed for Roosevelt. Matt, what's happening?
Hey, good morning.
How are you, my friend?
Well, a little tired this morning, to be honest. Got back about 2:30 and from the tournament, and fished the Let's Talk Fishing night tournament. They had 26 boats here at Roosevelt Lake, and man, fishing's pretty good. We didn't get that real big bite. There was 3 fish over 5 pounds caught in this tournament. We ended up with, it's a 3 fish limit. We ended up with 680 and 689 cast. So we were right there. But yeah, I was going to say fishing was real good again. Right before that sun goes down, they just move up and eat, and we caught them pretty good. We had a couple double hookups and everything with throwing the 6XD Strike King 6XD crankbaits and just getting them down there and making contact with the trees and rock and had a good time. Probably caught about 15 fish. Once that sun goes down, though, man, it kind of it slows down. We probably only caught 5 or 6 fish after dark, but man, right before the sun went down, fishing was pretty good there for a while. But I'll tell you, Jeff Allen and Ray Ortiz. Do you remember Ray Ortiz or Jeff Allen? They're old timers, man. They've been around forever. They teamed up.
Stop it! Quit it! I know when they were young. Stop it!
Yeah. But they came in, they had a 5-pound big fish and weighed 1160 for 3 fish and walked away with $2,000, little $2,084. So had a good night there, and so most everybody caught fish, and it's good, and just like Jim was saying, that morning bite, that topwater bite's pretty good early, and then, just exactly what he said, just back out a little deeper and slow down a lot of times. But you can stick to that topwater all day and get bit, So I know next week's topwater only tournament, the Rico and Persuader baits, topwater tournament. So you got to clean your boat out and only have the Persuader or Rico baits, from what I understand. I was debating on fishing it, but man, I got so much stuff in my boat. I don't. It'd take me half a day to pull everything out.
It'd take you to clean your boat out.
I was going to say there's a tournament at Bartlett Lake last night as well, and that Mason Spook, he's been killing it. He had 1580 last night, and I believe that's a 5-fish limit over there at Fishing 48. But some really good fish being caught at Bartlett right now, so that's encouraging too, because it's always known as a smaller fish lake, and it seemed like quite a few years, for quite a few years, if you had 11 pounds, 12 pounds, you could win a tournament at Bartlett. Now, I mean, they're consistently catching these 15, 16-pound limits.
Wow.
So,
something's going on at Bartlett. It's one of those things we're just waiting to see what's, how long this is going to continue.
Yeah, and I know they have everybody's talking about a big algae bloom going on there, so the water's green, but from what I understand, it doesn't really hurt anything. It's just that algae bloom, and but they're still catching them, and just just like you guys are saying, that's, 10 to 20 foot depth, it just seems to be, they're kind of in that summer pattern where that's just kind of where they're being caught. So, jigs and, the chigger craws just dragging on the bottom real slow, just catching them.
Let me ask you this. From a strategy standpoint, you obviously started with reaction baits. Was there a time that you switched to soft plastic?
Yeah. We usually throw something different. I threw that 10-inch worm a lot. The bigger profile at night gets bit on a Texas rig power worm, just in green pumpkin, and Brad was throwing a spinnerbait, crankbait, just kind of throwing different things until we kind of figure out, if they're keying in on something better than others. But he was just throwing a Texas rig brush hog, the full size brush hog, watermelon candy, and he caught quite a few fish on that. So, but yeah, after dark, I typically slow down mainly. I mean, not that you can't get bit on a spinnerbait or crankbait after dark, because you definitely can, especially with the moon. But yeah, I like to slow down and make that noise, on the bottom. That Texas rig weight just clicks those rocks and just, can trigger those strikes.
Yeah, sure.
I can tell you, John Fuqua fished by himself, and he had a 528, over 5 pound fish, and he said he caught it in the middle of the night on a spinnerbait, just slow rolling a big spinnerbait. So, yeah. So, but he only had 2 fish, but still ended up 4th place because he had that 5 pounder, had 2 good ones.
It just depends on which 2 fish you have.
Yep.
Yeah, and he actually flipped. He was up in the tonneau end and flipped a fish over 4 pounds, and then went a long time without a bite, and then caught 1 more fish, and like I said, he finished 4th with 2 fish for almost 9 pounds. So, a couple nice ones. But there's all kinds of ways to catch them for sure. There's fish deep, there's fish shallow, and it's like Jim says, that Alabama rig's still working. I know at Bartlett and Roosevelt, too. So usually it's more of a wintertime bait, but it works. It's working right now still. So
yeah, Roosevelt's it is big enough. You got so many different environments. Anytime baits work. Anytime, I mean, come on.
Yeah, yep, and it's what works on one side of the lake might not work on the other side of the lake or the main lake. It's just all different water clarities and that kind of thing. So I know they had Windy Hill Ramp closed. I guess they were doing a search.
Yeah, they were doing a recovery since last Wednesday, and the victim was recovered. I talked to Dave Esparza, our surface operations officer, who had been in touch with MCSO. No names or information has been released yet, pending notification of the family. So we'll get some information as that moves along. I'm kind of curious. Certainly a tragedy, but I'd like to kind of know what the circumstances were.
Yeah, I know we had to move the boat ramps over to Cholla, so they weren't letting anybody in over there for the
I think they had Windy Hill and Bobcat pretty well cordoned off.
Yep.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, and then rumor has it they deployed an ROV trying to locate this victim. But it would be interesting to, not that it makes any difference. It's certainly a tragedy, but where they were found, whether they were hung up in the bushes or just what the circumstances were. Helps for next time.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that for sure.
Yeah. All righty, what else are you up to?
Well, I'm going to go help some kids catch some bluegills today.
Oh, boy.
I'm headed right to Bass Pro Shops, and man, it's such a neat deal with the kids, and it's just amazing to me how many of these kids have never caught a fish before. And you put a little pool inside the store, you can get out of the heat and air conditioning and let your kids catch a few bluegills, and the bluegills were biting good last week. So,
hey, Greg, that sounds pretty fun.
Doesn't sound like bad.
Yeah.
They're hot dogs after.
We really don't have an age limit, so you're welcome to come catch a couple.
boy.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but it's neat. It's really cool to see them catch their first fish and how stoked they get. Just reeling them in. It's a really neat deal they do over there.
Good for you. You're a good man. All right, we're going to kick you loose. Talk to you next time. You take care of yourself. Give me a call next week.
Thanks, guys. Sure will.
Matt Shura, ladies and gentlemen. Worms and a Bobber at the Bass Pro Shops. Okay, we're going to flip into a break here. Let's see what we got coming up. Chris Rich, AZ Fly Shop, where the adventure begins. And with Chris, everything he does is an adventure. All right, we'll be right back.
Attention, Arizona firearms owners. Have you been searching for that one-stop?
Oh, my goodness. I had my headset turned down. That's my fault. Just throw something at me. Let's see. So when do you guys get geared up again?
October 21st.
Okay.
I've got some other things that are going on. I'll talk about when we get off air.
Okay.
I have a series of appointments at ICAST.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of meetings.
Yep. Boy, that's going to be a whirlwind trip.
Yeah. Well, between there and Houston. So it's in and out and run.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to go meet with TTI Blakemore. Till 4.
Lowe's knows the best deals for Dad. Hurry and save up to 40% on select tools and accessories. Shop the final days of Father's Day deals now. Lowe's knows Dads. Lowe's knows home.
This segment is brought to you by the AZ Fly Shop, where your adventure begins. The best in fly fishing is at the AZ Fly Shop, 3254 East Cactus Road. Show us your rack. How big is that elk, whitetail, moose, or mule deer? In the world of big game hunting, there's nothing better than having your rack on the wall and shown around the outdoor world. Head to huntingfishing.com and show us your rack. Now back to Don McDowell Outdoors on Fox Sports 910.
Chris Rich, what's happening, brother?
Hey, Don McDowell, happy Father's Day to you, amigo.
Yeah, and same to you, likewise. Hey, we missed you up at the Cowpunchers Reunion Rodeo in Williams. I kept expecting you to show up.
I had a bunch of friends up there. They had a a lot of fun. I've been to a handful of those over the years.
I'll tell you what, that was an awesome event. Lot of good, highly skilled cowboys up there. Boy,
you know what? They're really entertaining rodeos. They're really entertaining, I think.
Well, they had some fun stuff. They had somebody for something for everybody. You know, the serious bronc riders and all the way down to the wild cow milking event was just absolutely hysterical. Golly.
I was at one of those, and one of those wild cows jumped over the arena fence and got out.
Oh yeah. They're pretty wily, and most of them didn't take kindly to being milked either. So I'm just saying, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. There were some sore cowboys, some sore horses, and some sore kids. But I got to tell you, my big takeaway from that is I have never, ever been around a group of kids that were so well-behaved and well-mannered as those ranch kids. Just incredible.
Yeah, you're not going to find them.
Nope.
Those are the well-behaved kids.
Yes, sir. What are you up to? What's happening?
You know, I'm sitting out here on Becker Lake with my dad in the boat that we built, the wooden boat that we built about 5 years ago, and we're trying to catch some of these rainbow and tiger trout that Game and Fish put in here.
Nice.
Yep. And so we're just kicking back, enjoying it. Slight breeze, kicking across, and because 2 or 3 other boats on the water, all father and son combos. Pretty nice day to be out here doing it.
Yeah. Are the fish participating, or are they just teasing you?
You know, they have not. They've had lock jaw all morning. I think my dad had one bite. We've thrown the kitchen sink at them. We're moving around trying to locate them, but they have not been cooperative. Nobody's been really figured out the sauce just yet.
Really?
But the day is young. The day is young, and it's not really the fish that we're after. Although we've got lots of water, and we're pursuing them.
Yeah, I totally get it. Just totally get it. Well, that's good. What's going on over at the store? What kind of classes do you have next week?
I'll tell you what, we've got our 101 class. It's the primer class on Wednesday evening from 6 to 8. It's a very well-attended class, very popular class. 2 hours, you go from zero to hero. This is the class the fish do not want you to know about. People come to the class, they get set up, they go out on the water. The next week, they're sending us pictures of fish they're catching. We love it.
Yeah.
Game and Fish has been great. Woods Canyon, Willow Springs, Tonto Creek, Christopher Creek, Canyon Creek, all within about an hour and a half to 2 hours of the valley, and really getting some great reports out of there. And they're stocking nice-sized fish. People are real excited about what they're catching.
I've seen a few of those. I've seen a few of those come up on Facebook, and I mean, to turn around and see somebody haul out, 3.4 pound rainbows and things like that. That's great to see up there on the rim.
And it's really Game and Fish, their efforts. They're growing those fish, getting them in the water, and so there's an opportunity to really catch some nice fish. I know when I was a kid, we weren't catching stock fish like that.
Nope.
But I think probably this year there might have been some opportunity at some holdover too.
Oh,
Yeah, for sure.
The roads weren't as accessible this last year because of the snow levels and things like that. So I think that took some pressure off, allowing those fish to.
We're catching giant fish in Big Lake right now.
Yeah.
Last year they were catching 7-8 pound rainbows out of Big Lake. And I haven't heard of any of the real big ones coming out yet, but I have heard of some really nice size, some 4 to 6 pound rainbows and cutthroats coming out of Big Lake. And I just talked to a buddy of mine. He's out here with his 13-year-old son fishing. They were over there, and they caught a real nice brookie in the 17, 18-inch range out of Big Lake. So there's some nice fish being caught for sure.
Nice. So everybody that's listening to this report and all the rest of it, remember, you're going up into the mountains. It's not a place to get out of control with your campfires or anything else. We got to take care of it. So let's keep everything under control and enjoy our outdoors.
Yeah, the other
pick up your trash, pack it out with you.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I had on my housekeeping is make sure you're changed or adjusted so they don't drag on the asphalt
don't mean to be
pavement.
Sparking down the road.
And if you do have to pull off the road, pay attention to where you're pulling off. Do not pull over into the grass. Your catalytic converter is normal operating temperature is somewhere to 500 to 800 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're pulling a heavy load, it'll superheat up to 1,200 degrees, and You pull it in the grass, it's going to burst into flames. So be aware.
Yeah, and the grass is high everywhere up here right now.
Yep, it is. It is.
Lots
Okay.
of grass.
In the event that you encounter a bear, are you carrying any bear protection?
You know, I don't in Arizona. I know I've had a few friends that have had some encounters with bears. I've had bears one time come into camp and eat our food. You know, in the evening when we were out fishing. But I just haven't done that, quite frankly.
Okay.
I mean, I probably should. I have it next to my bed at my house in case I get a break-in.
Yeah.
I could bear spray someone, but and if I go up in the Sierras, I mean, they kind of require you to have that.
Right.
I spend a lot of time out here, and you know, we were in some real backcountry yesterday looking for a new secret spot on the creek, and never found it. We covered about 10 miles after about 5 dead-end roads, and so we were in backcountry. We didn't see a person, and there was no trail, and it was all bushwhacking, and you know, you would expect to see a bear in country like that. Saw a lot of elk, a lot of deer, a lot of turkey, but we didn't see the bear.
Yeah.
So that's not. I mean, I just don't do that. I know some people do, but it's just not something I've ever done in Arizona.
Well, we just had that poor gentleman up in Prescott that was killed and mauled by a bear, and rumor has it he was pretty much unarmed.
Yeah, well, it could happen. I had a night, Don, a real quick story. I was up at Reservation Lake. I was camped out there, and when I camp out, I sleep in a hammock. And it was in September, late September, so the elk were bugling all day, all night. They're waking you up 6-7 times a night. You wake up, you're just comfortable, and it's, oh, that's so nice, and you fall back asleep. About the third time they wake me up, I'm in my hammock, in my bedroll, and I've got the rain fly over. It was supposed to rain that night. And I suddenly realized I got something outside my hammock nudging me with the shoulder. And it's sniffing me. And I'm about 3 feet off the ground. I said, well, it's not a rabbit or a squirrel. And
Not if it's
probably not an elk. I don't think an elk would put their head underneath this rain fly. I probably have a black bear here sniffing out my ear. And I might be going out right now. And I kind of laid there, and if I freak out, the bear's going to freak out. I'm just going to lay here, and it went on for 3-4 minutes. It's just, you know, so I kind of picked my head up and looked through the screen, and it was about 1,100-pound Black Angus cow.
Oh my God!
I whacked him in the nose and get out of here. But I thought for a few minutes there, I thought this might be the end right here.
Yeah,
might be going out.
This is going to get interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a funny story. God. Hey, you just never know.
No, you never know. You are out in the wild, and you know, I have a walking stick I take with me and kind of brush up in front of me where I'm walking. Use it when I'm wading the creeks. It kind of will spar up a rattlesnake maybe.
Yeah.
Try to make some noise going through those bushes. Never run into bear. I've almost stepped on several deer doing that. They'll just lay right tight.
Yeah.
But I've never run into a bear.
Well, I've got a walking stick that has 4 Hornadays in it, so I get it. All right, what else? How long are you guys going to be out there today?
You know what? We're probably going to be out here till 10, 11 o'clock. We'll see if we can't get the bike going. And it'll be a short day. My dad, he's not going to take a long day anymore and doesn't need to anymore. But we'll get back in, probably be home by about noon and visit a little bit, and we'll probably work our way back down to the valley. We got to be back at the shop. The shop is busy as can be. People are out fishing. This is the time. People are fishing all over Arizona. They're fishing, traveling to go fishing, and kids getting into fishing, new people getting into fishing. A lot of exciting stuff going on around the shop. Yeah. We got a great coffee machine in there, so stop in, visit, have a cup of coffee, cast a fly rod, tell a fish story, hear a fish story. All the good stuff.
Yep. You guys are the best. All right, we're going to wish you the best rest of the weekend. Give your dad my regards, and you guys travel safely.
Hey, thank you, Don McDowell. Happy Father's Day.
You too, brother. Okay, Chris Rich, AZ Fly Shop. Check him out. Man, that's a great place to tell stories. Okay, back to Bass Junkies. When are you guys getting started with your
October 21st is the first It was the first boat tournament, first teams tournament.
Okay, you going back with five tournaments?
No, actually, we're going back with 6.
6, okay.
So we're going to do 6 events. Championship, we've already got the paperwork all in with Blue Water. So we will be back at the Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Parker Strip.
Great choice.
No conflicts on the water. The other thing is I have a request in for a permit with the Coast Guard as far as for that body of water. So
yes, sir.
There is not any competing events, no paddle boards, no jet skis, no jet boats or anything else, so that we will have access to the river without any other competing events going on at the same time.
Very wise. Very wise. Okay.
And it proved to be a fantastic fishery for us. Our last championship, especially in the first day when people were coming in with the excess of 20 pounds.
Oh, my gosh.
And healthy fish. Everybody I talked to was just excited, overall. And then the other thing is that I kudos to the resort, to Blue Water out there. Those are probably the best showers I've been in.
Really?
As far as for hospitality in a hotel, it's just like showering underneath a fire hose. It's got great pressure of water and it's hot. So I was just absolutely elated at that point.
Very, very cool. All right, we got to flip into a break here. I'll give you the saltwater report when we get back. Try to get a hold of Matt Kyle up at the Cowpunchers Reunion Rodeo, see what he's up to today. And then we'll get this thing wiped up. Talk to Doug about newsletters and stuff like that. And no NASCAR today, so I guess we're just left to our own devices.
That's a scary alternative, right?
It is. Well, we just hope there's no adult supervision involved. So
mine will have supervision. I'm sure I'm gaining a honey-do list as I sit here right now. So
Roger that. This is Fox Sports 910. I'm Don McDowell.
Greg Krueger.
And Doug at St. George, Utah. Hey, we'll be right back.
The first stop on any fishing trip is Phoenix Fishing Supply, 16th Street, just south of Camelback Road. The Phoenix Fishing Supply, they are the saltwater experts and all things fishing since 1987. Name it, they've got it. Goughnour Ted and his team of experts can service all your rods, reels, and equipment. To ensure you have the equipment to fight the fight, spool up a new line, check your brakes, clutch, and drag system. While you're there, check out the best of rods, reels, lures, and terminal tackle for whatever you're fishing for. Phoenix Fishing Supply, 4810 North 16th Street. Don't lose the fight.
Thanks for calling Grand Avenue Mini Storage. We are located at 3636 West Grand Avenue. We have units ranging from 4 foot by 4 foot all the way up to a 20 by 20. Yes, sir. I do think the 4 foot by 4 foot will hold all of your IRS crashed hard drives. No, sir. I don't think the 20 by 20 will hold all the people the White House has thrown under the bus, but do have room for that bus. Grand Avenue Mini Storage. Call us at 602-246-0680. 602-246-0680.
Tuna fishing doesn't have to be time-consuming or expensive. Fish the Malahiti, the three-quarter-day premier sport boat out of H&M Landing, San Diego. Yep, over on the left coast. Malahiti has a long and proud tradition of dependable service, and with the goal of your success on the water. Captains Bill Wilkerson, Mike Schmidt, and Mike Zayak will utilize their extensive skills and the latest technology to put you on fish. Tuna season is in full swing right now. Yeah, right now. Spend a day on the water on the premier three-quarter-day sport fishing boat on the left coast. Malahiti Sport Fishing. Don't miss the boat or the fish. Book Malahiti now at hmlanding.com or call them at 619-222-1144. Hey, I'm Don McDowell, and I fish Malahiti.
Are you exhausted after a long day on the lake or in the mountains or a hectic work week? Need a boost before your next tournament, facing the mountain, or Monday morning? Living Waters IV Hydration will have you feeling and performing your best. Experienced carry.
Okay. All right, go ahead and try Captain Bill then. Okay. Try Okay, no Matt, so we'll regroup on this. Where's my dog totals? Let's see. No patience, sport fishing, and seafood.
Let's see. No patience, sport fishing.
The boat or the bite. Book directly at MalahiniSportFishing.com. Back to Don McDowell Outdoors on Fox Sports 910 and always on our free iHeartRadio app. Here's the Bass Daddy and Tournament Pro, Don McDowell.
I'm going to give you some quick dock totals. HM Landing, they look like they had the biggest bluefin bite. They had 7 trips out, 8. Oh, you do have, Captain? Okay. Let me finish this up. 267 anglers, and they boated 57 bluefins. No sign of any yellowtail, and then 73 barracuda, which are always fun to catch, and then your 542 rockfish, 101 whitefish, and so on and so on. Captain Bell, how are you doing? Happy Father's Day, Captain.
All right, thank you guys. How y'all doing today?
Oh, we're doing good. We're kind of suffering. We have no NASCAR to play with today, so we'll have to smoke something or throw something on the grill.
Oh, that sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, buddy. What are you up to?
We're headed to the Coronado Islands on a Father's Day charter with 10 dads and 10 sons and daughters.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Gonna go catch some stuff. Hopefully.
Yep, there's all kinds of stuff to catch out there. How's the patty and the yellowtail fishing?
Non-existent.
Really?
Yellow patties are far and in between. There's the ones that you find. Some are holding, fish is not biting. Some are empty. Bluefin fishing. It was spectacular Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Was hoping it was going to get consistent, and it shut off yesterday.
Wow.
From what I gather, that fish made a 100-mile move to the south, which is not spectacular in any fashion, but, that's fishing, guys.
Yeah.
That's fishing as a whole. And I'm still a firm believer in this people watching fish counts before they come out and go fishing. You're going to miss the bite if you come out and you're watching fish counts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I'm just being totally honest with you.
Oh yeah.
I remember back when I first started in this industry, man, people came out to go fishing, not catching.
Yeah.
I
that's
understand.
true.
The price of the ticket. I understand the price of the ticket is what it is.
Yeah.
Because of extenuating circumstances that are out of, in my opinion, the boat owner's wheelhouse, if you will.
Yeah.
Fuel. The price, the wages increasing, stuff like that. We have to do something in order to make sure we can maintain a quality, and I say this with complete conviction, a quality operation. And it makes it difficult when folks are watching the fish counts.
Yeah, well, that's as bad as watching the weather. You know, I mean, there's such a thing as go outside and deal with whatever the weather is. You know, you just go do it. What kind of day did you have yesterday?
We had a Father's Day charter with Ron from Express Flooring, and we spent our morning on the bank and went to look for yellowtail and calico bass in the afternoon. To no avail. We wound up with like 197 cod, 36 reds, and some other stuff. It was a fun day, man.
Yeah.
Just fishing.
Yeah, that's a fun day.
Just fishing. It was a blast. It was a blast. Seeing these big old reds, you know, Ron and his dad, you know, his daughters. Yeah, it was cool, man. It was very, very cool. It's something we do with that group every year.
That's fun stuff. That is absolutely the best.
Yeah, it works out really, really well.
Okay.
You know, we had weather.
What's the news on the Horizon boat?
She went out yesterday, and like I said, you know, talking to her, that fish made a 100-mile move to the south from where it was. They got late to the party. You know, just it is what it is.
Yeah.
In that respect, you know, I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but I mean, fishing, guys, fishing is fishing.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to come out and catch, continue to watch the fish counts, and you're going to miss it. That's all that's what I've seen here in the past. You know, this season as a whole is kind of weird as it's starting out. You know, I mean, we got spoiled with that bluefin biting consistently April, May, June, July, August, September.
Sure.
You know, and not having, you know, that filler fish, that yellowfin last year never showed up. That Dorado showed up in force. You know, that was fun. That was cool. I enjoyed that. But I mean, things are eventually going to get back to normal, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I think we as owner operators hopefully are preparing for that day. You know, water temperature. We talked about water temperature with you guys 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where we were sitting there discussing, you know, the fact that, you know, for the past 6 years, with the exception of the past 2, water temperature in along the coast, well, not along the coastline, but in the areas where we fish, never dropped below 60 degrees. You know, year before last was the first year in 6 years I saw 59-degree water.
Yeah.
You know, it got down to 56 this year. I got them wind sailors.
Let me ask you this, Bill.
Right now.
Have you heard any scuttlebutt from the commercial fleet on Albacore?
All right. Year before last, it was 800 miles. Last year was 600 miles. This year it's at 400 miles. Will it skirt this far to the south? You know what I mean? To the east into San Diego before it makes that left-hand turn and hauls butt up to, Oregon and Seattle or Washington, in Northern California? I have no idea. Yeah. I hope so. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
that would really be cool.
Yeah, should be. All right, listen, we're going to wish you the best of the rest of the Happy Father's Day, and give our regards to all the folks there on the Malahini and the Horizon.
We will do that. Don, love your show. Happy Father's Day, guys.
Thank
you. To your listeners, y'all dads, keep doing what you're doing.
You guys go fishing with Captain Bill. You can book directly at MalahiniSportFishing.com and then take a look at the Horizon as well for your day and a half, 2-day trips. Okay. I want to switch gears and, we try to get a hold of Matt up at the Cowpunchers Rodeo Reunion. That, I got to tell you guys, this is their 45th annual reunion, and there's no professional cowboys up there, at least rodeoers. These are all working ranchers, and I got to tell you, the skill set on these guys is just, Greg's just remarkable. Boy, I mean, you talk about guys that get it done.
Well,
And,
isn't the national team roping champion family out of Milford, Utah? And they have a working ranch that they work all the time. And I think maybe he's the junior champion is what it is. But I know they've got a working ranch that's up there in Milford, Utah. And every day those kids have a rope in their hand. That whole family.
I shot some video. I mean, there's guys out here. You can't see me, but they're like 2.5 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're throwing ropes, and the skill set that these little guys have developed is just absolutely remarkable. And I mentioned this before, the manners and the politeness that these kids exude is just it's amazing. We had in the barn there's exhibitors. We had a booth up there and what have you. And the kids were just, they had their hands in their pocket. They weren't acting up, running around, screaming, carrying on. I had one guy walk up. We had some treats. And I asked him, I said, what can I do for you? He says, well, do you think I could have one of those Tootsie Rolls, sir? I said, no, I don't think so. And he put his head down and says, you probably should have 6 of them. Really? Oh, thank you. He had 6 Tootsie Rolls and off he went. Yeah.
So, but he didn't take 7. He only took 6.
Just 6. He didn't take 7.
Because the limit got put right there. He didn't go past it. Just went ahead and took that, and that was it.
Yeah. And then they didn't have, there wasn't any clothing police up there.
Yep.
Policing spandex. It was all blue jeans.
Oh, you didn't need them.
It was awesome. So. All right, we got to flip into one more break. We'll talk to Doug real quick, get this thing wrapped up, and get on with Father's Day. I'm Don McDowell.
Greg Krueger.
And Connor's in there doing a great job today. This is Fox Sports 910. I'm going to get you a hat with a bell on it.
Yeah, it was the Maple Bar.
This is The Herd.
Attention listeners.
With Colin Cowherd.
It's on the way. Yeah. Okay, so we should probably put you in a fishing t-shirt too. Okay. We're going to correct you. You've left a message. That's good enough. Since you've left a message, that's pretty good. Bam. What color spinnerbait was working back there?
A lot of chartreuse.
Yeah.
They were throwing things that silver blades.
Yeah.
White blades. I saw a lot of skirts that were chartreuse and white, or a bit of a iridescent blue.
Yeah.
Typically, what they throw as far as for craw and things like that is a black with blue, or a very dark blue. Seems to work well.
That's a great spinnerblade lake.
Well, there's so much structure.
Oh God, yeah.
In there, I mean, I have a ball. Honestly, that's landed as one of my places that I really like to go fish.
Oh yeah. Let's see, we're done with the dock totals. Don't need that. I cast. We ought to touch on that for a minute.
Sure.
Let's see. Let's see. Podcast 2023.
It's July 11th through the 14th.
Yes, sir. Bam. I wish they'd go back to Las Vegas.
I wish they'd do a West Coast again.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably just doesn't get the attendance, and that's why they're keeping it out there. But it's very expensive to do an expo in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
It is extremely expensive to do an expo.
Percent on select tools and accessories. Shop the final days of Father's Day deals now. Lowe's knows dads. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 6/18. Selection varies by location.
If you love the outdoors, make sure you sign up for the weekly hunting fishing newsletter to stay up to date with the latest outdoorsman news across the nation. Sign up today at huntingfishing.com. Now back to Don McDowell Outdoors on Fox Sports 910.
This segment is brought to you by TheWilderness.com, makers of quality outdoor and tactical gear. TheWilderness.com. We are back one more time. Doug, what's happening up there in Utah?
Utah? I don't know. There's not much going on in Utah. But I will talk about one item in our newsletter this week when you guys were talking about bears earlier. Alaskan officials killed nearly 100 brown and black bears at the end of May, first part of June. And the reason for that was the herd of, what are they?
Caribou?
Caribou, yeah. Caribou has shrunk. 1997, there were over 200,000 in those big herds. In 2017, there were only 12,000. It's really dropped, and they attribute that to bears mostly, and wolves.
Good.
I was going to say there has to be some
I was waiting for you to say global climate change.
No, that's not the issue, apparently. But 94 brown bears, 5 black bears, and 5 wolves were shot and killed.
Oh.
Assuming shot and killed. Now, they talk about relocation, but in the text, but the headline was kill. The article itself talked about killing. So I'm assuming they went out with helicopters and shot them from the air. I'm assuming that. I don't know. The article didn't talk about that.
Yeah, that'd be a good guess.
I think it would be.
All right,
but,
around the nation real quick. What do we got?
Around the nation, let's see. In Iowa, there's they created a year-round open season for raccoons. I don't know. I guess that's a good thing.
Okay. If you're not a raccoon, yeah.
Yeah, right. In Wyoming, there's a resident-only wild bison license raffle, which has a deadline of June 15th. So if you want a shot at a bison, you're going to have to go to their website. And here in Utah, interestingly enough, the Wildlife Board votes to prohibit harvest of trumpeter swans. And I believe that's due to the fact that there aren't that many for some reason.
Okay, just another note there in Utah. I saw a news brief. I was pretty isolated over, Friday, Saturday, but I saw a little news brief coming back that Bibles have been voted out of school libraries. Have you heard anything about that?
I did not hear about that.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a real slam there.
Yeah.
Gee,
yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll talk offline, and it looks like Ronna McDaniels that's in charge of the RNC. I didn't know she was related to your buddy up there, Mitt Romney. I mean,
apparently he is, or
yeah,
she is.
I just bit my lip so hard it's bleeding. All right.
Yeah. So
That's
anyway,
fair.
apparently the RNC's got some house cleaning to do. Just saying.
You think?
Yeah. All right. What else? I'm getting sidetracked.
all right.
What's the Facebook address?
Kendall, caught a common carp that beat the old Nebraska state record by
what's the
4.5
Facebook address?
pounds. It was over 40 inches long and weighed 39
lot coming
pounds,
up.
8 ounces.
Right now, next weekend, we've got the Skeeter Open tournament. That's going to be at Lake Fork.
An article on
downtown Texas.
How long does fishing
looks like there's a little bit of.
Now, both you and Greg and myself, over the years, you realize fishing line does deteriorate, especially the monofilaments, and we learn that every year. That's why every year you replace the line in your reel. Because
every second tournament, it doesn't last all year.
Well, there you go. Obviously,
I relined all my stuff before I went to Lake Fork.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure most fishermen do, Greg. I mean, especially tournament fishermen. You can't take the chance.
No.
So it does degrade, and mostly from the sun. So.
And you can take caught one last year from
interesting, Minnesota.
Very difficult to get them from
the wolves up there generally eat fish as a main source of food in the spring. I didn't know they ate fish, but apparently they do. And up there, they have a population over 2,700 gray wolves.
Well, there's a shallow shelf
in Minnesota.
That drop off, but I mean, one of the attractions to that area, the East Cape area.
Well, that's true, and we've got a firefight coming with state of Colorado's getting ready to turn loose the big wolves.
Yeah.
They'll be their first stop will actually be Utah, and on their way to Arizona. So.
Because they go right from one mountain area over to the Uintas in Utah.
Yeah, and all their feds are doing is putting the sporting community, they're turning the certain amount of the sporting community into criminals. And that's all I'll say about that.
Okay.
So.
We've got some other things we'll talk about in the news, letter, roundup. That's about a recap, unless you want to talk about something on here.
No, we'll cover it post airtime. What do you got on roll call this week?
None.
Good.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll do the YouTube thing on after air.
You bet.
Okay. All right. Good job. Any final thoughts on ICAST?
Well, ICAST is coming up. That's it's going to be ICAST 23. It's the, I think, 66th year that ICAST has been going on. It's the largest fishing sporting show that happens, that caters not just to the angling community, but to all the retailers and all the manufacturers. Everybody kind of congregates out there. You and I had said something about off there, wish they'd bring another show back out to the
used
west.
To alternate, yeah.
Yeah, it used to. I think they've had enough years, and I see what's on the schedule, that they're still going to stay out in Orlando. But it's going to be a good show. I personally have several meetings that are already set up. I know that you're traveling out there as well.
Yeah, you're going to be there what days?
The 11th.
Okay.
I'm just there on the 11th.